Today is March 24th, and this week there were 68 reported cases of COVID-19 in Charlotte-Mecklenburg County, which shows a 39% decrease over the last 2 weeks. Therefore, each subject is comfortable not wearing a mask. And I'm behind the camera, and I'm David Whalen. I'm a communications major doing my Capstone project.
My name is Jack Anderson. I'll be conducting the interview, and I'm a communications major in my Capstone project.
I'm Axel Horrocks.
So, Axel, where's home for you?
My home is in my country, in Argentina. But I think that at this point I'm like a globetrotter, could be, because now I'm here, and doesn't matter if my home is in my country, and I can return to my country whenever I want. I think I'm looking for my own path. So it doesn't I can have my home there, but doesn't mean that I had to live my entire life there. So I'm trying to find my own path and my own home.
So, you're from Argentina. What part of Argentina were you born in?
I'm born in Merlo, San Luis. That is a small town in a state in the middle of Argentina in 2000s.
Well, being from there, you're here now playing soccer at Queens. How long have you been in Charlotte for?
I came to Charlotte last year, in January last year. And yeah, I came because of a scholarship. I was in Argentina, I received an offer from Queens, and I came.
So, in the last 2 years, what has your experience been like regarding COVID?
Last 2 years, here, when I came, I didn't feel that COVID, like the first year, like 2020, I didn't feel like that year. And 2020 was a difficult year for me and for all my country in general, I think for the entire world. Um, but in 2021 was not that hard in my country. I was in my country in 2021, so it was not that hard. The restrictions were not that hard. When I came here, it's pretty the same. Nothing too weird compared with the first year of 2020.
So, with the early days of COVID, what do you remember from that when it first kind of came out about that there's this virus going around? What are some of your reactions and your early thoughts of that?
Well, the first day of COVID were like the March 2019. So I was playing in a club in Buenos Aires. I was living alone in Buenos Aires, playing for a club there, in the reserve team, and all our activities were suspended, all the trainings were suspended, and our coaches told us, to all the players, okay, go to your home, and we're gonna communicate how the situation goes, and when we can come to practice again. And the thing was that all the 2019, well, we had the lockdown, so I only had the possibility to train in my home with my brother. He's a goalkeeper too. He plays football too, so I had the advantage to train with him. We had a gym in our home, so I could keep my fitness and everything. I didn't lose anything. Um, but yeah, the thing I remember that was an entire year where I was training alone with my brother in the gym with my stuffs, and starting with the online courses and everything because I was in university at that point. And that's it. I learned a lot.
So, during lockdown, you mentioned training with your brother and working
Yeah.
out. What else did you do during lockdown?
I was finishing my studies because I was studying sports journalism. Um, and yeah, I started with two other languages. I was studying English at that point, but when I when my family discovered that we had Italian relatives, we started to the entire family started to learn Italian as well, and I personally I started to learn German. So I think that during the quarantine, have a lot of free time helps me to like use my time in a best way possible. You know what I mean? So don't waste time because I'm gonna be in home all this year. After 3 months, we already know that okay, this is gonna be long, so it's not gonna be I think of 4 months, and then we can come to train again, to go to return to our normally life, our normal life. So I said, okay, Now it's time to don't waste time and use the time as good as we can. So I started with two languages. I'm still learning both, and yeah, I think that the Italian and German is pretty good. I mean, it's a good advantage.
So you mentioned training with your brother and then learning Italian with your family.
Mm-hmm.
Since COVID, I know now you're in the U.S. How's your relationships with your family and some friends? How have that been affected since COVID?
How my relation? Can you repeat the question, please?
How have your relationships with your family and friends been affected since COVID?
I think that we have more time together during the quarantine, and that means that I think that we are closer now, much closer than we were before.
So during COVID, did you go out at all and just hang out? Go
No,
play
no, we
football?
couldn't. No, we couldn't.
You couldn't?
No, during the quarantine in Argentina was so strict. The things were so strict. The lockdown, and you couldn't go out. You couldn't do almost anything. So yeah, I couldn't do anything during the first 6 or 7 months in Argentina. Was only my family and me, my brother, my dogs, and nobody else.
So when you got to the U.S., COVID was still going on, and I'm assuming you traveled a little bit around the U.S. What were your experiences like when you got to the U.S. during COVID in relation to going out a little bit, kind of post-lockdown?
I think I don't understand the question. Can you repeat it?
So when lockdowns ended
Mhm.
and you were in the U.S., I'm
Yeah.
assuming, you had more freedom to go out and about.
I was in Argentina when the lockdown.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, I was in Argentina. When I came to the US, I felt that the situation was more normal. You know, since I am in the US, I only hear the word COVID. I only hear the word COVID like 5 or 6 times, not that much. Like the only thing that we had to do during when I am here, since I'm here, is only the mask. After that, maybe some classes suspended, but more than that, no. So it was not.
With the masks, did you like wearing the masks? Or no?
No, I don't like that.
You don't like it at
No,
all?
I don't.
Why didn't you like it?
Why I don't like the
Yeah.
masks? I don't know. I don't like having something here in my face. It's as simple as that.
Did anything like the masks or just COVID in general, did that affect like your normal everyday routines?
Mm, no, I think that not.
So COVID brought a lot of challenges on a lot of different people. What would you say were the biggest challenges COVID brought to you?
Biggest challenges. Um, I would say that use my time in the best way possible. Sometimes before COVID, sometimes you can be doing nothing during long periods of time. But now during that year that we had lockdown, like if you're not doing anything, the times fly. So you can lose an entire. I didn't want to lose my entire year, so I said I had to use my time as good as I can. So start using my time in a better way. I think that was the best challenge, the best challenge for me. So yeah, I think that is the thing. Know how to use my time in a better way.
On the flip side of that, so COVID always had a lot of consequences with a lot of people.
Mm.
What would you say some of the biggest consequences you've noticed from COVID personally?
Personally, I didn't have a lot of I didn't feel a lot of consequences of COVID. I mean, for me, the only thing that affected me, like personally, I never had COVID, so I can say that I didn't feel that thing. So more than the thing I already told you, no more than that.
So with COVID, being in Argentina and being in the U.S. kind of at the same time COVID was going around, what would you say the culture was like in Argentina compared to what the culture was like in the U.S. in relation to COVID-19?
In relation with COVID-19,
Like, would you say that like Argentina was more strict or
Mhm.
more tough, and come to the U.S. was a little more lenient?
yeah, I mean, obviously, I came to the US when the COVID was like going out. No, was not that hard. I was in Argentina when the COVID just started, so I don't know what happened in the US in 2019 and 2020, but in Argentina was so strict. Everything was so strict. I don't know how it was here, but um, in Argentina we had a lot of problems, like economic problems and social problems for the strict quarantine. So I don't know. I was in different times, so I don't think that I can compare. So
Yeah. Well, during the pandemic, did you work at all?
no.
But you do work. You did work when you got back over here to the U.S., right? You worked with Charlotte FC, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm not working for Charlotte FC. I'm only going as a media,
Okay.
But only that. I go as a media. I don't work. I only go because I know people and I
Yeah.
get the opportunity to go.
Okay. Well, with that, what were some of the positives you gained out of the pandemic?
I learned two languages. I spent more time with my family. I understood how, in certain way, how the world works in some points. Don't lose my time. Use my time as I already told you. Use my time as good as I can, and that's it.
So you mentioned having to kind of change how you use your time. What else do you think you've changed with the changes that COVID has brought?
I think that my mindset, like the thing the way that I see the things, it's like not everything is like right now happen. Some things takes more time to happen. So I think that my mindset and everything.
Well, being here now, being a college student in the U.S., how has your life changed from when you were back in Argentina?
I mean a lot because in Argentina we don't have campuses for students or universities. You have to pay your own apartment. You have to go to the classes. You have different. We have one university that's very popular in Argentina. That is the UBA. And the university is not only one place. The universities, you have the medicine university on one side and the I don't know, law university that is part of the same university in other part of the city. So if you're a student, you have to pay your own things. Here is more like compact. And the differences is like here we have like sports things. In there we don't compete as universities. We compete as a class and everything. So here the sport is more have more relation with the university and with the student life.
So what do you think after COVID? What do you think your future is going to look like?
No, I don't know. I don't know. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. One thing that I learned when I came here is that you cannot plan more than 3 months or 2 months. So if you are doing things every day, as I told you, use your time as good as you can. Sorry, and if you are doing things every day, every week, small things, you can have a plan in your future, but that plan maybe can change. One day can change. You can know somebody, and that plan change like everything. So look, I wanna after college. After college, I have only one more semester here, so I think I wanna be pro in soccer, and then here in the US, in MLS, in Europe, could be anywhere. But that's my main plan, you know. So and after that, with my college degree, probably after my retirement or during my career, who knows? Probably I'm gonna work on TV or wherever. I like a lot TV, radio, and this stuff. So I have a big plan behind that, but nobody, not even me, nobody knows how I'm gonna get there.
Well, with COVID and you wanting to be a professional football player, so how do you think COVID has it helped you on your path to become a professional, or has it hurt you on a path to become a professional? What would you think of that?
I would say half and half, because I was in a really good moment when COVID started, and we had one entire year like no competition, no training. I was training with the first team at that point in Argentina, and when everything stopped, it's like the clubs economically cannot afford all the contracts that they would want, and obviously they started to pay less to the players, and the contract that they offered me at that point was not that good, and I had to take another way to become a pro. So I think that's half for half because I could be pro in Argentina, But if they contract me, I won't be. I didn't come here. So because they didn't sign me, I'm here right now, and everything happens for one reason. So I think that half and half. Mentally, it helped me a lot, and but for in that moment, I thought that okay, that's not good the way they didn't contract me or whatever. But at this point, seeing the things from my point of view right now is thanks God that how COVID happened because that changed a lot for me and my mindset and the way that I think the things. You know.
So you did the hand math. What did doing the hand math, looking back on during lockdown, did you learn anything when you were doing the hand math about maybe yourself during lockdown?
So if I learned something about myself during
Yeah, like doing the hand math, you wrote all that stuff down, you had to think
Yeah.
about it. Did anything kind of pop into your head? It's like, dang, that was me during the lockdown, or did anything during the lockdown inspire what you wrote on the hand map?
Can you repeat the question again? I didn't understand it.
So you do the hand map.
Yeah.
You wrote all the things on it. And did any of those things, like the 3 journeys in your life or the people supporting you,
Uh-huh.
how could you relate that back to the lockdown?
I can relate.
Like, did the people you wrote down help support you during the lockdown?
Yeah, my family, for
Okay.
example. I think that my family is the main thing, you know. I was, as I told you, I was with my family an entire year in my house, you know. We didn't go out any day. We were like watching Netflix almost every day. And well, my brother too, I was staying with him every day. And as I told you, I learned German, Italian because of my time and everything. And training every day. I think that's all. And,
Or that's the last question I had. So, thank you.
yeah, you're welcome.
Awesome.